What happens when you outgrow people? Hi, I'm Miriam. I teach emotional intelligence skills and welcome to EI for Life. So, let's use an analogy here to explain this. Let's say your family and friends all eat Gouda cheese. That's the only cheese they like. That's the only cheese they eat. But you, one day, decide that you want other cheeses. So you decide to grow in a new direction. You start learning about cheese. You start trying different kinds. You start with cheddar maybe, and then you try some Emmental, and you cook all kinds of recipes. And there you are enjoying your different cheeses. You are very enthusiastic about this because there's a whole new world out there of cheeses. I love them all. Well, okay, maybe not all. Yeah, Roquefort is a bit of a acquired taste. So what happens with your family and friends, your partners, your children, your parents, your colleagues even? There you are, happy with your cheeses. And of course, you want to share your growth. You want other people to experience all these wonderful cheeses in the world. You want to tell everybody about the varieties out there because you grew and you want to share this growth with others. Now let's look at some of the people in your life. Maybe your parents will get inspired because you keep cooking stuff and you keep telling them, okay, so this dish you loved had cheddar in it. And maybe one miraculous day, your parents will go out and buy cheddar for themselves. Now, what happened here? You grew. You actively chose to learn about cheeses. You actively expanded your experiences. You actively tried new things. Your parents in this scenario, they were inspired by you and they spontaneously one day, sometime, decided to, follow in your footsteps, and they tried one new cheese, just this one. You inspired change. Maybe there's a person on your table like Aunt Catherine who is really annoyed by you constantly talking about cheeses. So your Aunt Catherine says, I will not try anything else. No, it's Gouda or nothing. So Aunt Catherine does not change. Aunt Catherine stays with her Gouda. And if you try to change her actively, she will of course dig her heels in. Because nobody likes to be told, be different. Even if it's about cheese. So, we have Aunt Catherine who refuses to grow with you. Now, Aunt Catherine changes too, because she now digs her heels in. That's a form of change. She now doubles down on her Gouda, a form of change. Because here's the thing, change happens to everybody at all times. Right now, while I'm recording this, some kind of changes happen in my body. When I exercise on a regular basis, changes happen in my body. If I work on a computer all day long, changes happen in my body. Changes happen in my mind all day, every day. Change is automatic and it's inescapable. It's part of life. Life means change. There are people like Aunt Catherine who dig their heels in because they think they do not change. They do not understand that growth is a possibility for everybody. But growth is deliberate and active change in a certain direction. When you decide, I want to learn about cheeses, and then you act on it. So you actively learn more, you accumulate information. You turn this information into actions. You buy new cheeses, you learn new recipes. And then maybe you even want to share this. This is growth. Maybe you even create a seminar about cheeses. So you share your wisdom with others. That's growth because you actively chose the direction you moved in and you acted on that decision. Growth is a lot faster than change. Change is often so slow, especially for people who do the same things every day, that they don't even notice it, and you might not even notice that they do change. But if you look at the person and then compare them to 10 years ago, you will notice that, yeah, they definitely did change. It's just incremental and so slow that they might not notice it, you might not notice it. In order to be able to grow, you have to have a growth mindset. So you need to understand that change is inevitable and that you can absolutely decide which direction you want to change in. Not everybody has this mindset. Some people, like Aunt Catherine, were never taught this. They were taught a very different view of themselves and of the world. They were taught a people do not change lesson. And this is a belief that is so ingrained that they literally cannot change. That they literally cannot grow, sorry. They will absolutely always change. So, you can inspire people. Some people will try different cheeses while you are around because you cook it for them and they don't not gonna, cook for themselves. So if you offer it, they're just gonna eat the cheeses you have and they'll be okay with it. But when they go home, they still only have Gouda in their fridge. So this is change through adaptation. They adapt while they are around you. And maybe in 10 to 15 years, they might remember you and pick another kind of cheese. Now, what's very important to understand, some very, very few people will actually look at you and think, okay, her enthusiasm about cheese is so awesome. I want to be like that. I want to learn about cheeses too. So they will ask you questions, and that's when you shine and you share. They will ask how you learned. You might, share a book with them or teach them yourself, anything. So these are people who also see you grow and they choose to grow in that same direction, sort of same direction. Their path is still different. It's not your own path. Everybody has their own path. Their path is still different. You might share a book, but maybe the course you took on cheeses is not their thing. That's okay too. They decided to grow and they do it their own way. Now, here's the most important part. You cannot influence who does what. You cannot make a person who does not have a growth mindset grow. You cannot choose whether you inspire people a little bit, whether they adapt to you, or whether they actually follow in your growth. You don't get to influence other people like that. You don't get to demand that they grow with you. You only make choices for your own life. You only get to choose which direction you grow into. So when you grow in a certain direction and you realize that the people around you are all still eating mostly Gouda, what do you do with that? Well, you get to decide who you invite to your table. You get to decide how often you invite them to your table. That means you get to decide who you allow into your life, invite into your life, even tolerate in your life. Maybe Aunt Catherine will only come by for Christmas. And that's plenty. Maybe with some people it doesn't actually matter if they don't share your enthusiasm about cheese. Maybe it doesn't matter that your parents eat what you put in front of them and every now and then get inspired, because you have other things you talk about. Maybe the person you inspired to grow with you will become closer to you because now you have more to talk about. Maybe you hang out more. Maybe the people who adapt to your behavior are sort of okay too every now and then. The important thing is you don't get to change others, but you do get to decide how much you let them into your life and which parts they play in your life. And yeah, sometimes you just have to face the fact that you no longer want them at your table. And that's okay too. Because what if Aunt Catherine decides to hate cheese from now on? what do? Will you stop cooking with it? Will you stop serving it? Or will you just decide that maybe Aunt Catherine is not the right person for you? Not even at Christmas? And again, that is okay too. We can never change other people. They change by themselves, and they change either automatically, or if they choose to grow, they pick the direction. You get to choose which direction you grow into. And when you outgrow someone, this is what happens. And it's entirely up to you what you do with it. I don't really like the term outgrow because it has such a value judgment, like you're better because you're growing. But you're not. You're just different. And that's okay. It's okay for other people to be exactly who they are. You get to decide how much time you want to spend with them. And that's it. So, I'm sure you've got a lot to think about. If you have any comments, any questions, put them in the comment section. If you want to share your favorite cheese, I have so many. Mine is actually Gouda and cheddar. Love it. You can also share that. And I will see you in the next video. Thank you for being you.